First, viewers, thanks so much for joining in today. We have, of course, Mahima with us today, in addition to Sajeet and me, Niraj. And I think what we'll do today, by the way, please send in your questions if you have. We'll love to take some of the questions as well. And what we'll do is it's 12:32. Let's target 12:37 को एक पहला क्वेश्चन लेते हैं. Make it interactive.
5 मिनट में.
Yeah, I would also have an urge viewers कि अगर when we are talking about it, if we are trying to attempt to talk about your question, and if you have a follow up, तो आप तभी लिख दें so that we can kind of finish the matter at hand, right? But I don't think today there is anything bigger than the pre-budget thing. As we speak, the what will be tabled? Economics. Yesterday I mentioned it's pointless really. So the economics trading के हिसाब से देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. So pre-budget trades we'll talk. But before we get to all of that, Sajeet, I think it's pertinent. Let the ladies speak.
Yes.
Because ladies should speak per se, and two also because
सारे कंजम्पशन के नंबर्स आए हैं. हाँ. डाबर देख लो, नेस्ले देख लो.
Nestle is up and about. What happened to Nestle?
So basically the numbers are in line. For them what they've said is export से भी growth आया है, that is जो अपन सुबह बात कर रहे थे. दूसरा ये है कि we were expecting that the revenue growth will be approximately 1.7%, but the revenue growth has come at 3%. The PAT has grown by 5%, which is why we're seeing that the stock is seeing a significant uptick. We just spoke to an analyst also and he's saying that volume growth भी उनका low single digits में होगा, जबकि volume growth for HUL जैसे कंपनी के लिए flat रहा है.
टॉप लाइन क्या था? 3.9% 4% बढ़ा है, राइट? तो अगर टॉप लाइन 4% बढ़ा है तो ये लेके चलो कि सब मल्टीपल ऑफ प्राइस एंड वॉल्यूम. तो वॉल्यूम या तो प्राइस की वजह से 4% है या वॉल्यूम की वजह से. वॉल्यूम 1 to 2% होना चाहिए और बाकी जो होना चाहिए वो
2-3% प्राइस हाइक्स होने चाहिए.
That's a normal thumb rule for top line. But point is that I think I was reading a commentary and they were saying कि quick commerce
has augured the growth.
Second, they're talking about slowing urban consumption.
Yes.
Third, they're talking about food inflation impacting them, especially cocoa, coffee and chocolate prices, means जो impact हो रहा है उनको. और third जो बोल रहे हैं कि there's a gradual recovery in rural consumption.
Which is what everybody is saying.
Which is consistent across all. Everyone, no one is saying कि भाई बहुत grow हो रहा है. Grow हो रहा है. That's what they are saying. So from a consumption point of view, numbers seems to be okay, I think. Okay. In line with what?
What estimates?
And 14.25 rupees second interim dividend. So that's also one of the triggers for the stock to go up.
Yes.
Okay. So that is one. What else in consumption?
Tata Consumer was.
Let's talk about that. Then I'll talk about Kalyan a little bit, but because we interviewed him. But Tata Consumer.
Yeah, Tata Consumer. Just a quick mention of Tata Consumer because in the morning as we discussed, even we thought that such a downtick in margin could probably lead to a negativity on the stock, but the stock is up today. And this is while Sajeet and I were discussing that first it could be because international expansion अच्छा हुआ है. Secondly, even in terms of Tata Consumer, both volumes as well as price hikes को मिला के जो revenue growth आया है, that was around 16%, which the other FMCG companies have not. Other FMCG companies have seen a low single-digit revenue growth, whereas Tata Consumer managed to grow around 16%. So that could be one of the triggers as to why the stock was up
but
around 4 to
reported numbers were one they below or marginally in line.
They were not.
There are two triggers, right? मेरे हिसाब से एक तो है Tata Sampann. I think that's their branded greens and other businesses जो है. It's been growing at what 30-40%.
It's done well.
It's done well. I mean,
but tea hasn't.
This salt.
Tea में भी growth है. Growth है and but they've not able to push the price hikes across.
Exactly.
So Q3
and no, but didn't they
अब Q4 में होगा.
No, but didn't they? So my reading of the commentary was that they believe that the pricing pressure will stay for the next couple of quarters in the tea business.
But they have not able to push the price hikes.
Yeah.
So the inflation will be higher than the price hikes that they take. So
exactly.
Margin that is going to weigh on their margins going forward as well. That is one of the things, but I don't think the market is kind of penciling that. They're seeing the revenue growth and probably
should the market pencil that in is the question.
I think so, because otherwise at some point in time margins will be impacted, and I don't know how much of levers they have to cushion the entire hike, global hike of commodities which is happening there.
Yeah.
वो पर आपकी तपरी वाली चाय महंगी होने वाली है.
हम ऑफिस में फ्री की चाय पीते हैं. अरे भैया, you love us so much that you are on that feed all the time. मतलब खुद बोलो और खुद को सुनो भी.
अच्छा, किसी ने पूछा है ग्रामीण एक्सेस, क्रेडिट एक्सेस ग्रामीण के बारे में बताने के लिए पूछा है, बैड नंबर्स.
Yeah, sorry, I haven't looked at it, so I wouldn't want to hazard a guess.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Or maybe we can get to it tomorrow or Monday, whatever it is. We'll talk about
Harsh
it.
is the expert in it.
Yeah, credit access Grameen Harsh should be here. Yeah. No, just two small bits on Kalyan, right? And the stock is up quite significantly today.
11% almost right now.
Well, 11% is it now? Yeah. So one was of course the numbers, and Mahima, maybe you speak a bit about the numbers, but actually why don't you talk about the numbers first, then I'll talk about some of the other things.
Right.
Technical factors.
So got it. So in terms of numbers, you know, a good set of numbers. Revenue growth came in at around 40%. Their EBITDA had around 19% odd growth. Net profit was 21% growth, but it had a one-off जो custom duty की वजह से था. Otherwise net profit का growth 44% था. Margins have taken a hit at 6%, but this is because they are, transitioning to the franchisee model. But one interesting observation that came in from the con call was, and they've probably said that in the last con call as well, कि उन लोग ने ऐसा बोला है कि FY27 अभी their focus is to become net debt free, right? FY27 के बाद once they get net debt free, they will again come to company owned models, which means their margins will remain in that range of around 6 to 6.5% beyond FY27 as well. So margin expansion is nowhere on cards for the next 3 to 4 years.
That is something which I think market should factor in, because I think in your interview you were saying, right, that franchisee owned company operated gets a margin of 5% and company owned gets a 8% margin. Yeah. So the blended rate is around 6%. So FY27 तक he's expecting around, means 450 crores का उन्होंने already debt pay कर दिया है 9 months में, and another 150 crores here. So 600 crores this year. Maybe another 600 crores next year. But the biggest hangover on the stock would be the pledge.
Yeah.
Means I saw you asking that question. खरीदना जरूरी था.
वो about pink stake, right?
हाँ, वो तो मार्केट से भी खरीद सकते थे.
अब liquidity नहीं है आपके पास तो क्या? But yeah, so I see we did what we as journalists should do, right? Ask hopefully the right questions. The answers, you also understand that the management is now in a state of this thing wherein they are very, very careful about what they speak, lest it be construed otherwise. So थोड़ा वो भी था. I think मेरे हिसाब से the stock is it's a bounce today because it's been beaten down out of shape, right? And इतना टूटने के बाद some bit of a bounce, not unexpected.
अभी भी from the 52-week high is 39% low.
Yeah. So some ultra HNIs, some very smart investors, and everybody is a smart investor, but some people who do smart trades regularly have gotten into it also, yesterday, per se. Doesn't mean that the stock has gained today and it will keep on gaining, but yes, special situation stock ho gaya tha ye.
Special situation stock.
Special, almost, right? You think of it like a special situation stock due to a lot of factors and whatever it is, some rumors, some true, some false, who knows. But the stock got beaten down so badly.
But the fundamentals are not bad, right?
Not
it's
bad.
very good actually.
And the growth is also not
bad.
I just think it's also...
Except for, I think I was reading one of the reports, they were saying that stones above 50 cents, there's a price correction which has come in. And I think the lab grown diamonds are making an impact.
But that is 10% of their income, that's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, so the last point on Kalyan, at least from my end, is that he is in the right space, right? Organized jewelry as a part of overall jewelry market, not very high. He's got a large enough business. He's in the right bucket. If he does all the right things, growth aa jayega. So at some point of time, somebody might have seen value. Okay, chalo, whatever the rumors may be, whatever the reasons may be, the stock has been punished. According to those people, it's been punished enough that this franchise can bounce back. That's why they have bought it. Now, will it go back to its glory days? Remains to be seen. Who knows, by the way? It could well be lower in the next few days as well. So nobody's commenting there. My limited point out to...
Today it went nearly 13% odd because of short covering, which is there. So FNO stock, which is there. So there's a short covering also which is coming in here. But commentary was very bullish. And he was very categorical that he's focused on getting this strategy going, basically.
Yeah, so interesting moves.
Even the store guidance is very positive because they've said 90 more Kalyan stores and 80 new Candor stores. It's quite, but Candor mein there is one more thing that is it's loss making. And it's the loss are widening every quarter, which is kind of concerning. And plus they are planning to add more and more stores. So I don't know when it will become profitable for them.
Just for our viewers.
Yeah.
Difference between a Kalyan store and a Candor store.
Right, sure. So Kalyan store basically has traditional jewelry, your big ticket size jewelry, whereas Candor is focusing more on your small ticket jewelry, everyday wear jewelry, and Candor also has an online presence for Kalyan. So it has an online market as well. So you can go to the Candor app or the website and buy those small ticket size jewelry online as well.
Just like a Carrot Lane or something?
Carrot Lane or something. Mia or Carrot Lane, yeah. Exactly.
Okay. There's a bucket of stocks that I wanted to talk about, but before that, anything?
Budget आ रहा है भाई.
अच्छा तो budget के पहले खाली 1 मिनट ले लेता हूँ मैं. 1 minute, right? And then we get to budget. Watch out for agrochemicals and chemicals. I think the results by and large have looked okay, and therefore could be very interesting. Almost all chemical names have either shown decent results or decent commentary or a combination of both. Almost all. I'm not saying all. Tattva Chintan didn't, but almost all, and therefore could be very interesting. And some of the numbers that have been reported, margin expansion by some of the companies, refrigerant gas companies and otherwise, has been very, very good. Naveen Fluorine did that, SRF did that. So Gujarat Fluorochem numbers weren't bad either, right? So, and of course, Ami Organics was the icing on the cake, of course, but that was due to the CDMO.
The specialty chemical?
See, it's been spoken about a lot.
हमने काफी बात की है कि ये जो हाथी आ रहे पर अब हाथी आ गया लगता है.
एक थोड़ा बहुत चाइना का फैक्टर अभी भी है कि अगर चाइना में स्टिमुलस नहीं दिया इनफ और इनफ डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन नहीं हुआ, देन they will flood the world market. So that overhang remains अभी भी, वो clarity नहीं है, who knows चाइना में क्या हो रहा है. But yes, it's been a long, the one part that people should keep in mind that 2025 is different from 2021 amongst everything else. एक होता है pricing, etc. But none of the chemical companies stopped putting up capacity. So in the last 3 years, almost all chemical companies have added on capacities in various verticals, and therefore the consolidated revenue numbers will start looking good. So any which ways you will have a higher revenue in a lot of places, and if the margin uptick comes in, then the earnings growth uptick will be very, very swift.
And the CDMO play is coming to
fruition. I mean, Lotus, Ami Organics, all of them. I'm sure Divi's will do that too.
Right.
So therefore, yeah, that's a very interesting one.
There was an interesting observation that you also made from the consumption side, that people are moving more towards the liquid side of things when it comes to soaps, where these chemicals are also used. So
I was telling them about trends, how to look at trends, and saying that, look at your household, how your consumption of personal care has changed, and that's something which you can easily figure out. From soaps you move to liquid, so your soaps में जो आपके chemicals है, soda ash वगैरह, caustic वगैरह सब कम हो जाएंगे. Liquids में आपके specialty chemicals आने लगेंगे, so the demand for them will go up. It's not it's a trend, and it's prevalent in smaller, means younger groups. Means हम जैसे बुढ़े लोगों की.
Sorry, speak about yourself.
Niraj is highly offended.
But let me tell you this.
Budget.
There are two key events.
No age, budget.
No age. For every age, there's two events which are coming in. One, Trump tariff.
Tomorrow.
Today evening.
Tomorrow, right? Saturday.
हमारे लिए कल सुबह होगा, पर आज US टाइम आज बताएगा ताकि कल से फर्स्ट से इम्पोज हो जाए. आज आएगा.
Okay.
और दूसरा जो है बजट. So before and he's talking about 25% tariff on Canada, on Mexico, and he's not sure whether to put on crude.
China.
No, China नहीं है, अभी China का नाम नहीं लिया.
What if China?
What if China? That is a separate thing. But China पे छुट्टी पे वैसे भी. तो Canada और Mexico में है, और अगर crude में आ जाता है, तो then it's an issue which is going to come in. So हमारे जो कल का ट्रेडिंग है, स्पेशल ट्रेडिंग Feb 1 का 11 बजे तक, तो अगर ट्रम्प भी देखिएगा मालिक है, 11 बजे के बाद मैडम सीतारमण मालिक है,
मालकिन
है. तो ये, तो आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं बजट से?
यार, somehow my belief is that this time around, with due respect to the budget, because but it should be a statement of accounts, frankly. But I think Feb 7th becomes a lot more important than the budget this time around. The ball is in the square of the monetary policy, but be that as it may, because it's the budget and it's an important event, like 3-4 things. One, actually two key things to my mind. Aside of course, कि भाई अगर cigarette पे कुछ ये वो whatever it is, whatever is permissible in the budget, that's all individual, right? Components पे PLI, BL, etc. But two key things that I will watch out for. One is that, and I will not say fiscal deficit because it's a given. They will do 4.9, maybe they do 4.8 or 4.7, remains to be seen. So that's not a big surprise. One is that, do they tinker LTCG or STCG at all? Right? Hitherto, all the last few years, the market has taken it in the stride. It may not be the same this time. So that is one. And two, the capex number. Very important. Very, very important. Now, the only deviation out here is that when they announced the budgetary estimates, right? And लोगों ने बोला था कि पहले 2 quarter में there are issues, monsoon, election, etc. Quarter 3, quarter 4 it will pick up. But at that point of time, the loss of the reduction in receipts was not factored in. Now that there is a reduction in receipts and is the fiscal deficit tightening is a clear and present thing that we have to do. The outlays may not necessarily be as much as the people believe it will be. So, capex पे क्या बोलते हैं? Does the government still say कि no, I'm happy to front load the capex even if the private sector is not coming? Most important, and hopefully, this time around, for the sake of the capital markets, no tinkering with capital gain.
So, before we go to the two questions of Rohit and Lilliput, Rohit is asking on PG Electro Plus and Lilliput on Waaree Energy. Just wanted to put, I've been speaking to Media Assets Sher Khan for last 4 days, special series which we are doing on YouTube for you guys. And he kept 4 or 5 things he said very clearly. One, FY25 का आपका कैपेक्स जो नंबर है वो लोअर दिखाएगा 10.5 के आसपास, 10.5 लाख करोड़ का दिखाएगा. If FM goes ahead and keeps 11.5 for FY26, that's a very bullish sign that she's been aggressive. 11.5 के ऊपर तो और भी ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Second, fiscal deficit, known that there's a glide path to 4.4, 4.5, उससे ज़्यादा headroom नहीं होगा उनके पास क्योंकि revenue growth भी कम दिखाएगा इस बार. और थर्ड जो है, they were of the opinion that if you are able to give us a glide path of how long-term capital gains will move across assets, then the street will be happy with it. STT में कुछ changes नहीं होंगे क्योंकि STT में already पिछले साल किया था और F&O का impact हमने देखा है कितना है, पर revenues फिर भी ऊपर है by the way STT से. So that's few things, and ITC वगैरह में ज़्यादा कुछ होने वाला नहीं है. That's what they were saying. And yes, if consumption is really need to be pushed, maybe income tax up to 15 lakhs or something, अगर वो exempt होता है या 10, तो then that's something more consumption oriented budget. That's what they're saying. मीन्स उसके नीचे भी हो सकता है, ऐसी बात नहीं है, पर कंजम्पशन अगर रियली पुश करना है आपको तो
जो अभी न्यू रिजीम में 7 लाख है.
सो यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट बीइंग लिटिल एग्रेसिव एंड सेइंग, एंड मोदी जी ने बोला है ना, माँ लक्ष्मी से प्रार्थना करेंगे कि
तो होपफुली हम भी प्रार्थना करेंगे. यस, आई थिंक अ कॉमन मैन विल डेफिनेटली वॉच आउट फॉर कि न्यू रिजीम में होगा तो न्यू रिजीम में ही होगा कि क्या अगर चांसेस है कि अगर थोड़ा सा स्टैंडर्ड डिडक्शन भी रेज कर दे, ऑल्दो उन्होंने 75,000 कर दिया था लास्ट टाइम. So if that 75,000 is also raised to, let's say, 1 lakh rupees, that will also bring in a lot of relief for a common man. And 7 lakhs to 15 lakhs, a bit ambitious, but yeah.
But 7 to 10 होए तो
10, yeah.
10 भी अच्छा है. But in the same, the point is that you have to show the intent of pushing consumption, right?
Have you guys done the back of the envelope calculation कि अगर 10 हो जाता है तो कितना पैसा बचता है in the hands of the consumer?
यार
20% है उसका slab.
हाँ.
So 20%. Yes.
Of 3 lakhs.
Of 3 lakhs should be the amount.
तो but PG Electro
Plus, yes. PG Electro Plus and impact durables.
कोई भी FI शुरू किया.
Waaree. Because we spoke to the management today, right? So on Waaree, see, I think दो चीज़ है कि for a highly valued company, and by the way, this is not Hitachi Energy which is trading at 150 times. It's about 65-70. It's not cheap, but 65-70.
Newly listed stock.
Newly listed stock.
Capex cycle is coming into play. मतलब the production cycle is coming into play because commercialization हो रहा है उसका production का.
Yeah, so it is very important for them to put up a good quarter because it is an expensive one, and a lot of people have said कि because US में जो हो रहा है module prices गिर रहे हैं ये वो फलाना ढिमकाना, their margins will go down, right? So they used to 10, 11, 12% was the expectation that they'll probably go down below, etc. and stuff like that. Here's Waaree coming out and delivering not 11, not 12, not 13, not 14,
yes,
20%. EBITDA margin at 20%. That to my mind was the standout feature of the quarter. Now they've delivered, they said that execution, they've a hawk-eye focus on execution, because of which they have been able to do this. In the 10-minute short conversation that we spoke to the CEO and the CFO, and people should go and listen to their interview, right? Because you will get
they'll
to
drop
see
in the interview on the comment section.
On the comment section, okay, perfect.
Will do that for you.
But sometimes body languages tell you a story or two, right? A lot of times actually, not sometimes. I think they seem quietly confident of being able to execute the 55% of the order book which is global in nature, or 45% of the order book which is local in nature. 50,000 crore order book. When I asked about the execution timeline, they said the blended execution timeline is 12 months. Doesn't mean that 50,000 12 महीने में होगा, but if the blended timelines viewers is not 3 years and 4 years, but closer to 12 months and essentially less than 15 months, you know that there's a lot of short-term execution that is out there in the offing, which means the near-term growth looks a lot more certain. And then, of course, they'll probably win some more orders.
Q4, Q1 is going to be very healthy for them. Anyways, they're coming on a lower base as well, so बहुत healthy दिखेगा वैसे भी.
And very confident about margins, very confident about cost controls. I mean, they needed to put in a strong quarter, and I think they've done that. So even if it's an expensive stock, I think today deserved the salute that it got. So which is.
पर सर मेरा एक यहाँ सवाल है, जो the analyst who tracks this space, Mika has also had this सवाल कि अभी उसका capacity around 14 gigawatt if I'm not wrong, and वो उनको FY26 या 27 तक 21 gigawatt तक ले जाना है. My point is कि okay, increasing capacity and this is happening in all other solar companies as well, but उतना demand है अपने पास?
है ना, क्यों नहीं है? Because the point is that if you look at India's target of renewable, I think 500 gigawatts we are talking about, उसमें 100 is
by 2030,
and उसमें 100 is coming from wind, so 400 तो solar में ही आ रहे हैं ना. So there is a demand which is going to be there. Now it's a question of how you're going to push it through, and plus for a company which has a global print, not just in India, but means you can say that okay, 500 looks very aggressive for India, right? But and so the exposure to India is much high. But here, if you have 55% exposure to global markets, then in an environment where prices are falling for ingots, for cells, and for modules, you are able to maintain the same margin profile and cost efficiency levels. Then it's a very good thing to do it. So आप ये पूछोगे कि 2 साल बाद इतना ही डिमांड रहेगा, आई डोंट नो अबाउट इट, बट नेक्स्ट 6 to 9 months, 2 से 3 क्वार्टर में तो डिमांड दिख रहा है कि इतना डिमांड है.
Okay, now we have less than 5 minutes, but 3-4 questions. PG. So let's. So there is PG, there is Ease My Trip, there is also Whirlpool, right? So okay, now I spoke about Waaree. Anybody tracks EPAC very closely?
No, I don't track.
I can talk about Whirlpool.
Just very quickly. Just very quickly on EPAC then. So of course in the right space again, EMS related. They've also gotten.
PGBOC space.
They've also gotten into the thing of manufacturing electric two-wheelers and electric battery sets for Spiro. It's an African company making its foray into India. Has done remarkably well, PG Electroplast, in the last few. Not a cheap stock. PG Electroplast. So keep that in mind as you think of this, because the only thing is that for all of these companies, the budget is very important, because agar electric components pe PLI aati hai, and if these guys manage to bag some of it, then that might be an added shot in the arm. But expensive stock, both PG, I think EPAC more importantly, very expensive relative to the earnings growth, so keep that in mind.
FY26 is roughly 58 times and PG is at 72 times, so PG is a little more expensive than that.
So just keep that in mind.
And I think the growth outlook is also very aggressive for PG.
Both, so they've done that. Okay, so that is one.
Whirlpool. Okay, so yesterday basically what has happened in Whirlpool is that last year, same time we had seen that Whirlpool Corporation had decided to kind of reduce its stake from 75% to 51%. And अब वो बोल रहे हैं कि 51% से लेके 20% तक ले आएंगे उनके stake को by mid 2025, which is why we saw कि कल stock सुबह से lower circuit 20% में नीचे था. Now couple of things with respect to how पहले के transaction हुआ था, 24% stake sale हुआ था, which was at around 1277 a piece, और वो value around 4,000 crore odd था. उसके बाद we had seen in terms of stock performance, it did hit a high of around 2,449, but उसके बाद it's been down around 36% roughly from its highs, if I'm not wrong. और कल का फैक्टर इन करके थोड़ा और ज़्यादा होगा. But basically what is happening here is that even after bringing down its stake sale to around 20%, it's holding to 20%, Whirlpool Corporation will still be its largest shareholder. Basically what will happen is कि autonomy मिलेगा Whirlpool India को, but still उनके लिए
ये autonomy क्या होता है मुझे बताओगे क्या?
मतलब कुछ
you are a subsidiary of a foreign parent. You are still dependent.
There's no autonomy.
There's no autonomy.
हाँ मतलब ब्रांड लाइसेंसिंग और जो टेक्नोलॉजी एग्रीमेंट्स होंगे वो तो अभी भी उनके ही रहेंगे. बट मे बी सम डिसीजंस दे विल बी एबल टू टेक देम.
The stock is on 52% from that 50 high.
No, so
and this communication by the parent is very.
No, but the point about Whirlpool. Sorry, very quickly, 1 minute. They sold a large stake in February last year at about 1150, right? So many people thought management ने बेचा है तो the stock went up to 2100. Now it's come back to those levels and gone below now. So in some sense, I think the street is disappointed because here's a company coming out. It's one thing for a management to say that we are taking advantage of the higher valuations in India for our global cash flows, but to do it consistently over and over
in 2 years.
And last point, if you look at the last 5 years of Whirlpool, the profit growth, the revenue growth, etc., they've been stagnant.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I think therein lies the problem.
Globally too, actually, right? So it becomes like a cash cow. You sell your family silver and show up your other income in global parent.
I mean 75 to 20% now.
I think that is the problem.
You have an LG Electronics IPO which is coming in next 2-3 months, right? So you will be compared to a Whirlpool and others, global parent.
Yeah, maybe I haven't bought a Whirlpool product in a really long time. I don't know if either of you have, but anyways, that's not to say that the company, but the sales aren't quite growing. Anyways, ease my trip, Sajeet, very quickly before we wrap up.
Yeah, it's I don't know what's happening. The promoters
बहुत कुछ
कर रहे हैं, बहुत कुछ करना चाहते हैं. They want to start their own business, then they say नहीं, we are still supporting the business. Fundamentally, it's a very good business to be. I mean, the existing Ease My Trip wala business, because it's, I think, one of the few travel portals who are making profit. But there's confusion on the promoter level is creating an issue for investors. And despite the the promoters coming and clarifying on a channel as well some time back, it's people are not so confident on it, because one of the sons wants to do something else. He's still on the board. The other one is taking over, and the clear pathway for each of them, is crosses each of them actually, right? So वो समझ में नहीं आता वो हो क्या रहा है.
Yeah. So a bit of a not a very clear business plan laid out. Even if सस्ता है, पर जरूरी नहीं है कि पैसा बनेगा.
Cash बनाता है अपने operation से.
No, but I'm saying if the promoter is not
clarity and
so why buy into it, right? Yeah. There are many other stocks. You're not forced to buy into this thing. So that would be the कहीं पे भी जाओ. Cool. Okay, so it's about 1 o'clock, so we should wrap up.
और कुछ
Anything else left?
नहीं और कुछ
आज के लिए ठीक है.
आज के लिए इतना है, पर कल budget day है. So after the budget, we'll try to gather ourselves and give you the 5 or 6 takeaways.
Key takeaways.
Yeah, around 2:30.
Which have a relevance to the market.
Relevance to the market actually. But if you're trading, be careful on how you trade. And
ideally, don't
do
trade
your
on the
research
budget.
and trade. Otherwise, it can hurt you. Simple as that.
Thanks for tuning in.